The fluorescent lights in the emergency room hummed with that particular frequency that makes time feel elastic. I could smell antiseptic and something metallic underneath it. Our daughter Emma was 3 beds down, her small hand wrapped in gauze, a nurse checking her vitals every few minutes. I'd been sitting in that blue vinyl chair for 40 minutes when I tried Laura's number again. It rang 4 times before she picked up. "Can you come to the ER? Emma fell at the playground. They think her wrist might be fractured." There was a pause. I could hear background noise, laughter, music. "I'm at Kelly's. We're right in the middle of something. Can't you handle it?" My chest didn't tighten, it hollowed out. "Laura, she's 7 years old and she's asking for you." "David, you're there. She's fine. I'll be home later." The call ended. I sat there holding my phone, looking at Emma's drawing on the wall chart where the nurse had let her color. A purple house with a yellow door. My throat felt raw, but I didn't swallow. I just nodded at Emma when she looked over, gave her the thumbs up she needed to see. They had no idea what that moment set in motion. My name is David Marshall. I was 51 years old, and I'd been married to Laura for 19 years. I worked in municipal water compliance, the kind of job nobody thinks about until something goes wrong. Steady paycheck, decent benefits, the kind of career that doesn't make dinner party stories, but keeps the mortgage paid and the retirement account growing. We lived in a 3-bedroom ranch in the suburbs, the kind of neighborhood where people mowed on Saturday mornings and waved from driveways. On the surface, we were fine, stable. Laura taught yoga part-time and managed what she called her wellness consulting business. I never quite understood what that meant, but I didn't ask too many questions. She had her friends, her workshops, her retreats. I had my routines. But there were moments, small ones, the kind you catalog without meaning to. Like the Tuesday night I mentioned we should probably look at Emma's college fund, and Laura waved her hand like I was talking about something trivial. Or the morning I suggested we take Emma to that science museum she'd been talking about, and Laura said she'd already made plans with her book club. Or the evening I came home with groceries and started unpacking, and Laura walked past me to answer her phone without saying hello. Just walked past. I let it go. I let a lot go. I told myself marriage was about choosing your battles, about being the steady one, the reliable one. But steady started to feel like invisible, and reliable started to feel like furniture. 3 weeks after the ER incident, we were sitting at the kitchen table. Emma was at my mother's for the weekend. Laura had her laptop open, scrolling through something, half smiling at her screen. I'd made spaghetti. Her plate sat untouched. "I think we need to talk about what happened at the hospital," I said. She didn't look up. "What about it?" "You didn't come. Emma needed you and you didn't come." Laura sighed, the kind of sigh that suggested I was making problems out of nothing. She finally looked at me, her expression somewhere between boredom and mild annoyance. "David, you were already there. What was I supposed to do? Rush over and stand next to you? She had a sprained wrist. She survived." She was scared. She asked for her mom. And she had her dad. Laura closed her laptop and leaned back in her chair, crossing her arms. "You know what your problem is? You catastrophize everything. A kid falls at a playground and suddenly I'm a terrible mother because I didn't drop everything and race to the ER like it's a trauma scene." I felt something shift in my jaw. Not anger, something colder. "You were at Kelly's house, having wine. So what?" Her voice sharpened. "I'm not allowed to have a life? I spend all week running Emma to soccer and dance and play dates. I'm entitled to one afternoon with my friends." "It wasn't an afternoon. You stayed out until midnight." She stood up, her chair scraping against the tile. "This is exactly what I'm talking about. You keep score. You keep this running tally of every little thing, and then you throw it in my face like I owe you something." I didn't raise my voice. I didn't stand. I just looked at her. "I'm not keeping score, Laura. I'm asking you to show up." She laughed. Actually laughed. It wasn't cruel exactly. It was worse. It was dismissive. "Show up? I show up every single day. I'm the one managing this house. I'm the one making sure Emma has everything she needs. You go to your little job, come home, heat up dinner, and act like you're father of the year because you took her to the ER one time. She picked up her phone from the table, checked the screen, and started typing something. I'm going out, she said, not looking at me. Kelly's having people over. Don't wait up. She grabbed her jacket from the hook by the door and left. The door didn't slam. She just pulled it closed behind her with that same casual indifference. I sat there at the table. The spaghetti had gone cold. My heart wasn't racing. It had stopped trying to keep up. That was the moment something inside me went quiet. I didn't cry. I didn't throw anything. I stood up, cleared the table, put the dishes in the dishwasher, and went upstairs to our bedroom. I opened my laptop and started going through our joint accounts, methodically. Spreadsheets, transaction histories, auto-pay records. I noticed things. Monthly transfers to an account I didn't recognize. $500 a month for the past 8 months. Charges to hotels I'd never heard of. Dinner receipts for 2 at restaurants in the city, on nights Laura said she was at a workshop or with girlfriends. I took screenshots. I saved everything to a cloud folder. I didn't feel angry. I felt focused. The next morning, I called my college roommate, Tim, who'd been through a divorce 5 years earlier. We met for coffee at a place near his office. I need the name of your attorney, I said. Tim looked at me for a long moment. You sure? I'm sure. He wrote down a name on a napkin. Amanda Reese. He didn't ask questions, he just nodded. Silence wasn't surrender, it was strategy. Amanda Reese worked out of a small office in a building downtown that smelled like old carpet and coffee. She was in her mid-50s, sharp-eyed, with reading glasses she wore on a chain. She listened while I explained everything. The ER, the indifference, the financial irregularities. I don't want to burn her to the ground, I said. I just want out, and I want Emma protected. Amanda leaned back in her chair. Let me ask you something. Does your wife know you know about the transfers? No. Good, don't tell her. We're going to need documentation, bank statements, credit card records, phone logs if you can get them. I want everything. Over the next 4 weeks, I became a different version of myself. I still went to work, still picked up Emma from school, still made dinner and helped with homework. But in the gaps, in the margins, I was preparing. I opened a separate checking account. I redirected my paycheck. I consulted a forensic accountant Amanda recommended, a man named Gerald who wore bow ties and spoke in percentages. He found more than I'd expected. Transfers to an LLC Laura had set up without my knowledge. Business expenses that didn't match any legitimate consulting work. Patterns. Laura didn't notice, or if she did, she didn't care. She came home later and later. Sometimes she'd sleep in the guest room, claiming she didn't want to wake me. Sometimes I'd hear her on the phone in the backyard, voice low and animated in a way it never was with me. On a Thursday afternoon, my phone buzzed while I was at my desk. A text from an unknown number. You should know your wife's been seeing someone. Thought you deserved the truth. I stared at the message for a full minute. Then I blocked the number. I didn't need anonymous texts. I had bank records. That weekend, Laura told me she was going to a wellness retreat in the mountains. 2 nights. She'd be back Monday. Have fun, I said. She looked at me, maybe surprised by how easy I'd made it. You're okay with Emma? We'll be fine. After she left, I took Emma to the aquarium. We watched the jellyfish tank for 20 minutes, her small hand in mine, and she told me about a boy in her class who could solve Rubik's Cubes in under a minute. I took her for ice cream after. We got home and watched a movie, and when I tucked her in, she hugged me hard. I love you, Dad. I love you too, sweetheart. I went downstairs and checked my email. Amanda had sent over the initial filing documents. I read through them twice. Then I signed them electronically and sent them back. I checked the time. 9:47 p.m. By Monday morning, Laura still wasn't home. She texted at noon saying the retreat was going so well they'd extended it another day. I didn't respond. On Tuesday, I picked up Emma from school and took her to my mother's house. Can she stay here for a few days? I asked. My mother looked at me, her face concerned. What's happening, David? I'll explain later. I just need a few days. She nodded. Of course. When Laura finally came home Tuesday evening, tanned and smiling, she found me in the living room with two banker's boxes on the coffee table. "What's all this?" she asked, dropping her bag by the door. "Divorce papers. You've been served. The courier came this morning." Her face went blank. "What are you talking about?" I stood up, calm. "You'll want to read through everything. It's all documented." "Documented? David, what the hell is going on?" "The transfers to the LLC, the hotel stays, the restaurant charges, the account you opened without my name on it." I kept my voice level. "It's all in there." She walked over, picked up the folder on top of the nearest box, and opened it. I watched her eyes scan the first page, then the second. "This is insane," she said, but her voice had lost its edge. "You're making this into something it's not." "Then explain it." She put the folder down, her hands shaking slightly. "I don't owe you an explanation. This is my business. I'm building something, and you've always been threatened by that." "I'm not threatened, Laura. I'm finished." She stared at me, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I saw something real in her face. Fear. "You can't do this. We have a child." "Emma's at my mother's. She's safe. You can see her anytime. Supervise until we sort out custody." "Supervised?" Her voice pitched higher. "Are you kidding me right now?" "You didn't come to the ER, Laura. You chose wine and friends over your daughter's broken wrist. And when I asked you about it, you laughed." "It was sprained." "It was fractured. Hairline fracture in her radius. The x-rays are in the file." Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked at the boxes, then back at me. "Who is he?" I asked. "What?" "The person you've been seeing. I don't actually care who it is. But you should probably tell your attorney, because it's going to come out either way." Laura's face flushed. "There's no one." "The bank records say otherwise. So does the private investigator Amanda hired." That was a bluff. There was no investigator. But I watched her face crumble anyway. She sat down on the couch, put her head in her hands. When she looked up, her eyes were wet. "It wasn't supposed to be like this," she said, her voice small. I felt invisible, like I was just Emma's mom and your wife, and nothing else. And then I met someone who saw me." I didn't sit down. I stayed standing. "You weren't invisible, Laura. You chose to disappear." Her face hardened again. "So what now? You take everything? Ruin me?" "No. You get what's fair. I'm not interested in revenge. I'm interested in moving forward. Emma stays with me during the week. You get weekends, supervise for now. We split assets according to what each of us actually contributed, and you stop draining the accounts." She stared at me, and I could see her cycling through options. Denial hadn't worked. Anger was fading. Now came the bargaining. "David, please. We can fix this. We can go to counseling. I'll change." I picked up my keys from the side table. "I don't want you to change. I want you to be honest. And the honest truth is we stopped being a team a long time ago." "Where are you going?" "To pick up Emma. You'll hear from my attorney about the next steps." I walked to the door, opened it, and stepped outside. The air was cool. It smelled like rain coming. I didn't wait for her response. I didn't look back. 3 months later, I was sitting in my new apartment, a 2-bedroom place closer to Emma's school. The divorce was finalized. Laura had agreed to most of the terms after her attorney reviewed the financial documentation. The LLC was dissolved. The accounts were separated. Emma spent weekdays with me, weekends with her mother, unsupervised now after Laura completed a parenting course the court required. It was a Saturday morning. Emma was at Laura's. I was drinking coffee at the kitchen table, looking out the window at the park across the street. Early light coming through the trees. A couple walking a dog. Someone jogging. I thought about that day in the ER, the fluorescent lights, Emma's small hand in the gauze, the phone call. I didn't feel triumphant. I felt unburdened. There's a difference between silence and surrender. Silence can be the moment you stop explaining yourself to someone who's decided not to listen. It can be the breath you take before you finally act. I should have seen it sooner. I should have asked harder questions. But regret doesn't change the past. It just teaches you what to protect going forward. If you'd been in my place, would you have stayed and tried to fix it? Or would you have walked away and started over? Tell me in the comments where you're listening from. Whether you're in your truck on a lunch break, at your kitchen table before the day starts, or somewhere in between, your presence means more than you know. If stories like this matter to you, subscribe. Let's keep walking this road together.